GSTR 3B for the month of March of annual returns 9 and 9C. Omission in the GSTR 3B can lead to some kind of a miscommunication or kind of a which may generate any kind of notice or a, that is, all the interstate supplies pairs have been extended from 30th April to 30th June from the financial year 24. It is a facility that has been provided to dealers having annual aggregate turnover less than 5 crore. Welcome viewers, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to discuss another very interesting update on GST. This time I have brought 4 important areas since financial year has already passed, that is 24-25. I hope everybody will be busy in filing the returns for the GSTR 3B for the month of March. The month of March 2025 is very important since the entire yearly reconciliation with regard to supply of goods or services, outward supply of goods or services, inward supply of goods and services, which is reflected in your books of accounts, will be reconciled with that of the GSTR 3B and the GSTR 1. And any kind of adjustment entries that needs to be passed or that needs to be recorded with effect to or in relation to the GSTR returns filed must be done in this month only to the maximum extent, so that the reconciliation is at least done to 80 to 85% of in this particular financial year only. This will reduce a lot of burden during the time of filing of annual returns 9 and 9C, the reconciliation statement. And as I have already told you earlier, that GSTR 3B is not only a tax paying return, but it is also a very informative return. It is becoming an informative return. So the government is trying to capture various smaller details of your business through this GSTR 3B returns, and this has to be done very carefully, because any mismatch or any omission in the GSTR 3B can lead to any kind of inquiry from the department. So that is to be looked into, and hence in this month of April there are other few changes which has been come into. And the first change that has come into this month is with regard to the GSTN advisory dated 11th April 2025 with regards to the GSTR 3B. We have already discussed that the GSTR 3B is under constant updation, and the latest updation has come in. The updation is with relation to table number 3.2 of the GSTR 3B. Let me just give a brief background of table number 3.1 and 3.1.1. So these are the first two tables of the GSTR 3B that basically captures or draws information from the GSTR 1 or 1A that you have already filed. Under table 3.1 of the GSTR 3B, details of outward supplies and inward supplies which are subjected to RCM are recorded here. And under table 3.1.1, all transactions or taxable supplies which are made through electronic commerce operators are reported. Now, within this 3.1, table number 3.1 and table number 3.1.1, there is an important information that goes into which are primarily reported under table 3.2. That is, all the interstate supplies made to unregistered person, composition tax dealers, and unique identification number holders. That is basically foreign diplomats and embassies who are going to report it under a subcolumn of this particular table. So here two important information the GSTR 3B is deriving. One is the interstate, that is from you when you are supplying any goods or services from one state to other. This information is regard to that transactions only. So if you are transferring any goods or any supplying any goods or services between states, so all these interstate supplies has to be reported under table 3.2 only to the unregistered dealers. If you have made any supplies made to the unregistered dealers, to the composition taxpayers, and UIN holders. So this is important. What is the change that has happened? The change that has taken place is that these are reported in GSTR 1 and 1A previously. Now, during the previous GSTR 3Bs, this particular table was an editable field. So if we have given some information or any misinformation or any omission has made in GSTR 1 or 1A, then this correct figure can be given in GSTR 3B. Now, from April 2025, this table 3.2 is becoming non-editable. You cannot edit this field anymore. So, it is very important that during the filing of GSTR 1 and 1A for the month of April, which is due in the month of May, needs to be carefully filed, because that will be auto-populated in your GSTR 3B under table 3.2 and it cannot be modified. Careful and cautiousness should be there during the filing of GSTR 1 and 1A beginning the month of April this financial year. So now it is the advisory is out, so you cannot modify this particular table 3.2. Since this table 3.2 is non-editable, then what are the options available to us for correction if something has gone wrong? For example, if some information you have, if there is a misreporting in GSTR 1, there is an option of filing of GSTR 1A. Now, is there any deadline for filing of GSTR 1A? Like in GSTR 1, there is a deadline, that is 11th of every month. So for GSTR 1A, there is no specified deadline. So any time before filing of GSTR 3B, you can modify your data through filing of GSTR 1A. So that will reflect in the table number 3.2 of the GSTR 3B, and then you will be able to file with the actual and the corrected figures. If by any chance, if you have not corrected such figures in GSTR 1 or 1A and have going forward for filing of GSTR 3B, then there is no chance of modification, because that table is now becoming non-editable. So any modification that needs to be done has to be done in the following month of GSTR 1 or 1A, whatever respectively. So care needs to be taken for your accounting team, for your accounting system, that this data which is going into GSTR 1 and 1A with regard to interstate supplies, I repeat, interstate supplies made to unregistered persons, to composition dealers and to EIN holders must be recorded, must be captured accurately in your accounting system, so that the correct data is being fed into the GSTR 1. So this is the important point. Just to add one point here is with regard to a data which is interstate supplies made to composition dealers. Now in various organizations is still under the process of determining who is a composition dealer, who is not a composition dealer. I hope every accounting system now has a procedure to identify whether this particular vendor or whether this particular customer is a composition dealer or not. So that needs to be checked very carefully and recorded correctly, so that information with regard to the supplies made to the composition dealers must go in accurately through GSTR 1 and finally through GSTR 3B. So this was our first update on GSTR 3B, which we want to deliberate to you. The second important discussion that I want to make is with regard to quarterly return and monthly payment scheme of the GST. What is it? It is a facility that has been provided to dealers having annual aggregate turnover less than 5 crore. I repeat, less than 5 crore, to file your GSTR 3B quarterly. Make the payment monthly. Assess your own liability, make a monthly payment and file your GSTR 3Bs quarterly. This is the financial year 2025-26. The first quarter has begun. The last date to go into QRMP scheme is 30th April. So the last date is 30th April by which you must opt in for QRMP scheme if you want to avail for this quarterly filing of GSTR 3B. For quarterly 3B, which is applicable for this QRMP scheme, the due date of filing of quarterly 3B is 24th of the succeeding month in which the quarter is ending. So if your quarter is ending in June 2025, then 24th of July is the due date of filing of GSTR 3. What about the monthly payments? The monthly payments has to be made by 25th of the succeeding month in which such amount of tax is due. So under this particular scheme, you can make this payment through PMT 08, and for the monthly payment, you have to make the payments by the 25th of the succeeding month in which such tax is due. So this is with regard to the QRNP scheme. Last date is 30th April to opt in. Moving on to our next point is with regard to composition dealers. The composition dealers were required to file the GSTR 4 previously till 23-24. It was, the due date was 30th April. That is 1 month after the year has ended, you have to file GSTR 4. But since 2024-25, wide notification 12/2024 dated 10th July 2024, the due date of filing of GSTR 4 for composition taxpayers have been extended from 30th April to 30th June from the financial year 24-25. So those composition dealers were required to file by 30th April. Now they can file by 30th June their annual GSTR 4 return. Mind you, the quarterly payment for composition tax dealers on self-assessment basis, any liability on self-assessment basis has to be made through CMP 08, and that is to be made quarterly. What is the due date? The due date is succeeding month of the quarter, 18th. What is the due date? 18th of the succeeding month of the quarter where it is ending. 18th of the succeeding month where the quarter ends. Hence, if your last quarter for 24-25 is 31st March 2025, the last date of payment of taxes under CMP 08 is 18th of April 2025, by which you must pay the taxes, the quarterly taxes. For the yearly return for 24-25, GSTR 4 due date stands from 30th April to 30th June. For the next part of our video, please keep an eye on our LinkedIn page.